In this series, we are writing so many unit test cases, and in all the unit test cases, we are calling our actual method. What is the meaning of that? Suppose I'm writing the unit test case for this method, the add method that we have in this math helper, right? Now, how I'm writing it? So I'm creating a new application, and this is the unit test case for that particular method. So at this place, I'm passing both the inputs and I am actually calling that method, right? Even if you will put a debugger over there, you will notice that this method will be executed line by line. In this situation, this concept is fine. But in reality, there will be so many situations where you cannot call the actual method. Let's talk about that scenario. So suppose this is your application over here, and from this application you are making a call to some third-party API. So suppose this is my third-party API. So how I'm doing, suppose I have my controller. So suppose somewhere over here I have a controller. From controller I'm calling this third-party service, and this third-party service is very expensive. Okay, now I'm doing something over here and I'm getting the response back, and that's how my application is working. But suppose I'm writing the unit test case for this specific controller method, then because a unit test case will make the actual call to that controller method, so the call will also go to this third party API. And because this is very expensive, so every time you will execute your unit test case, you will call this API and your billing will be increased. Let's take another example. Suppose you have a database, right? In that database, again, you are doing the same thing. You have one action method in your controller that is used to create a new user. And once the user is created, then you will get some response back. Okay. Now, suppose you are writing the unit test cases for this particular method. If you are going with the current concept, then what will happen every time you will execute this unit test case, a new user will be created over here. And suppose you are running these test cases in your production environment. So what will happen every time you will do this, a user will be created in your database. Now talking about some more complex scenarios, suppose you are working with some payments. So in that case, if you are writing the unit test cases, then the actual payment will happen, and which is a loss, which is a drawback of writing the unit test cases. So how can we fix that? The fix of this problem is that we want to mock these calls. So suppose this action method is calling this particular API, then instead of making the actual call to this API, I just want to mock it. So how the mocking will work? The mocking will work in all the scenarios. So what are the scenarios over here? Suppose this API is working fine. So what will happen in the happy path? You will make the call and you will get the 200 response over here, and along with that you will also get some data. Suppose this API, the third party API, I'm talking about this one, this is expecting some parameters. So chances are that for some of them this API will work, and for one of them or two of them, because of dummy data or anything, I'm just talking about the scenarios, this API will not work. In that case, this will throw some error or exception. Now what will happen if the API is also down itself? Even if you are making a call, the API is down, you will not get the proper response. So these are some scenarios that can happen, and we will handle all these scenarios. So the example is, suppose the API is not working. So it means your code must be able to handle that particular scenario. Similarly over here, suppose I'm creating a new user at this place. So there could be some scenarios. Suppose the email ID already exists. In that case, this API or this logic, whatever logic we have over here, this should throw the error and your code should handle that particular error. Now, I'm talking about the concept of mocking. So how do we mock this data in our ASP.NET Core or any .NET application? To mock your logic in your application, there are so many libraries available. The most popular is MOQ. So if you will go to the NuGet over here and search for MOQ, you will see that this is the package available. If you will use this library in your application, then you can mock easily. How this will work? So suppose you are having one interface and you want to mock it. How do we mock? So we have to use this new mock. This mock keyword is given by this MOQ library. And once the mocking is done for this interface, remember that inside one single interface there can be multiple methods. We will talk about all these things in an example in just a bit, but these are the documentations on this NuGet site, so I'm just reading that. Now this mocking is done. After this mocking, we have to tell how this method will behave. So suppose I'm writing this mock.setup. So this mocking I am setting up over here. And how I'm setting inside this I love this library, there is one method which is called as download exist. Talking about the same scenario, suppose this is my controller action method and this is having one service which is I user service, right? Inside this I user service there could be multiple methods: create user, delete user, get user. Here we are talking about the create user. So we have to mock that create user over here. How do we mock it? We will tell that if we are making a call to this create user over here with or without any parameter that we will handle in upcoming videos, then you must return only this. So what will happen? The call will not go actual to that method. You will simply mock it and it will return only from here. Now once it is done, simply make your call to the method and this is how it will work. This is the very basic introduction. Now let's talk about this, how this will work in the real world application. So to cover this concept, I'm working on this console application. This is a very basic console application over here. I'm using the .NET 10 and this is the very basic console application. Now we have to use the dependency injection over here. Let's search for that also. So here I'm writing NuGet dependency injection extension. Okay, so Microsoft.extensions.dependency injections. First of all, I have to use this package at this place. So let's just use that. So I'm adding this package, which is the dependency injection. And for that, let's create some interfaces at this place. So here I'm writing public interface I test. You can give any meaningful name and let's write the proper implementation also. So this is my implementation. I have one interface, this is iTest, and this is my class that is implementing this iTest, and this is my return real data. Now let's just use the dependency injection over here. So how do we do that? Where service collection. I'm using this service collection over here. Let's just fix it. In this service collection, I'm using this add singleton. Basically this iTest, that interface that I have, and this is my test. This is my service now. Test service provider dot get service. So what we are having at this place, we are having one simple interface, one class is implementing that. I have registered them using the dependency injection over here using the singleton, and this is my interface and this class will implement it. So this is just the registration part. Now talking about how do we get the instance, this is how we are getting the instance. If you are not aware what this get service is, then I would highly recommend to watch my dependency injection course using the ASP.NET Core that has everything starting from scratch to advanced level. So what we are having? We are having this get service, and this is I'm having, just to avoid this warning, I can use this escalation mark at this place. Now if I will just run this application, you will see what will happen. So I'm using this .NET run. You can notice that we are getting this message which is the real data, and which is actually quite simple. Now we have to learn about mocking concept. So to work with the mocking, we have to use this library. So let's just copy it, go back to this VS Code. In the terminal window, let's just paste that and now hit the enter button. So what will happen? This will add a new library in our application, and you can see over here that we are having this MOQ library. Now I have to mock this service. Which service I have to mock? This interface that I'm having, iTest. And remember from the documentations over here, we have to use this new mock at this place. So let's just do that. So here I'm writing this mock test. Remember this earlier service was test, but this time I'm creating another instance and this is going to be mock test. Here I'm using this MOQ, and if I just remove it from here, and I can also use by using this concept using MOQ. Okay, now we have to set up our method. How do we set up? Like this. So mock test dot setup. Inside the setup, what I'm doing, I'm telling, this is the lambda expression, that if I'm working with this get data method, and how I'm getting this get data method, this is coming from this iTest interface. I'm using only this interface. I'm not touching anything in the implementation. In this mocking concept, I'm working only with the interface. There is no connection with this implementation for now. I'm telling this that if I'm calling this get data method, so you must return only this mocked data. This is my return type. Because we are returning only the string from here, so I have written this string at this place. If your method is returning integer, decimal or some other data, then you can write that appropriate return type at this place. Now what will happen? I'm going to display this message again over here, and this time I will be using this mock test service. In this MOQ concept, we have to use this object. So mock test dot object, this will be the actual instance of this iTest service, and then we are calling this get data. So ideally, if we talk about the output, over here you will notice that we are getting the real data output. If you will check this line, then you will see that we will get this mocked data. Let's just write our command, which is the dotnet run. Hit the enter button. You will notice that we are getting two messages at this place. The first one is the real data, because over here we are using this real data, and the second one is the mock data. So if I write proper, you will notice that here I'm writing this DI registration, and then here I'm using this actual call, and this is the mocked call. Okay, so this is how it is working. Now by using this concept, if you go back to our diagram over here, what we will do, we will still make the actual call, but we will just mock it. Based on so many types that we are having, we will just mock it. And remember that there could be some scenarios where, suppose we are having one more method over here. In your mocking concept, if you are not using this another method, then you don't have to worry about anything. If you are using only one method, then mocking of the one method is sufficient over here. But in case if you want to mock both of them, so suppose I'm running this application again, let's just use it. You can notice that still we are getting both the same messages, and suppose I'm just mocking that second one also. So mock test dot setup. In reality, this method is returning 42, but here what I have written, I have written 100. So if I'm calling this get number, so we must get the 100, and let's just do that one also over here. And I want to console without mocking also. So how this will work? So first I'm having this get data, then I'm having this get number. This is the actual call. In the mocking concept, I am mocking it with the same service, and this time I have set up the method that it must return 100. Then let's see how this will work. So I'm just running this application, and see, this time you will notice that we are having first the real data 42, then we are having this mock data and 100. There is one more interesting point over here. If you will put the breakpoints at this place and you will execute these two lines, then you will notice that your application will hit this breakpoint. But in this scenario, even if you are calling this get data method, your breakpoint will not hit, because we have already set up the method over here, and if you will make the call without hitting that breakpoint, you will get the return, and the return will be whatever you have written at this place. This is the bare minimum concept about the mocking concept. In the ASP.NET Core, we will do several things over here. What will happen if there are some parameters at this place? What will happen if you are using with the async methods? So many scenarios are there. We will cover almost everything about mocking. To learn this concept better, I would highly recommend you practice all these concepts by yourself, and just put a breakpoint and let me know how you are hitting the breakpoints. Are you hitting your breakpoints in case of mocking, or you are hitting them only in case of the actual calls? Let me know your feedback in the comment section below. Thank you for watching.